Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with here today with an article from the Post Millennial dated August 7th. And of course, the vice presidency for Kamala is a thing now, and Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, has taken the reins there, and he's the guy online who started the whole weird trend calling J.D. Vance weird, because having a family and, support, actually being in the military and deploying and serving his country. Yeah, it's real weird. And the more stuff that comes out about this guy, the worse it's getting for him. So this is one of those things where it's like I'm usually like one of those folks that it's off, like family is off limits, but it's like when your family's doing some rather egregious stuff, I don't have a problem with it, and this is a case in point. It says Tim Walz's wife Gwen kept windows of governor's mansion open during the George Floyd riots to smell the burning tires. Now, what kind of a complete psychopath do you need to be to even admit to something like that? Like, if you did it, that's still freaking weird in itself, and maybe you should just not say it to anybody, especially the news. But let's go ahead and see what this weirdo, this is an actual weirdo, had to say here. There's a subheading here. It says, I kept the windows open as long as I could because I felt like that was such a touchstone of what was happening. So basically, she wanted to revel in the destruction of her state, and her city. So let's go ahead and get into it here. It says, an interview reveals that Gwen Walz, wife of Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, proudly kept the windows of the governor's mansion open during the violent BLM riots of 2020 that ravaged Minneapolis after the death of George Floyd so she could smell the burning tires. And sorry about all the sniffles here. I am getting over a cold, so I'm just apologizing ahead of time because there's probably going to be more. It says, the unearthed interview comes as Democrat Governor Walz, 60, who has accepted the VP spot with Kamala Harris's campaign, has come under fire for his handling of the 2020 riots, which resulted in more than 1,500 businesses being damaged. Walz reportedly delayed deploying the National Guard and law enforcement agencies to quash the riots, and his wife detailed her husband's struggle during that infamous time of civil unrest, as reported by the New York Post. Yeah, and first, good on him, and I say that sarcastically, that he's like, oh yeah, everything's burning down, I'm not going to call on the National Guard to stop it. These people should just keep burning stuff down. Like, this dude they're trying to portray him in the media as a centrist. He is absolutely not a centrist. He is a far leftist. He is a communist, and I know I've used that word a lot, but go listen to some of the stuff he says, having a snitch line for people during COVID so they could tell on their neighbors. So, and of course this little famous quote of saying socialism is just, socialism is just another person's neighborliness, or whatever that quote was. And it's that no, you do not know your own ideology, sir. So let's go on with the article. It says, I could smell the burning tires, and that was a very real thing, said Mrs. Walz in a June 2020 interview with KTSP, reflecting on the 2020 BLM riots that ripped near their home in St. Paul. I kept the windows open as long as I could because I felt like that was such a touchstone of what was happening, she added, noting that there were a lot of sleepless nights for the governor. I'm sure the sleepless nights weren't because, the whole city was burning down. He 100% seemed to support that. So I'm not really sure what his sleepless nights were about. I don't know. So it says, Walz detailed that the COVID-19 pandemic exacerbated the stress of their home state, which became the nationwide epicenter for discussions about police violence and racism. And now that I said the magic disease word, I'm sure I'm going to have a little wiki note on this video. It says, the Republican-controlled Minnesota Senate's Joint Transportation and Judiciary and Public Safety Committee accused Governor Walz of neglecting to coordinate with police, delaying the deployment of the National Guard, and downplaying the riots. Additionally, he was accused of providing his daughter, Hope, who was 19 years old at the time, with confidential information regarding law enforcement's strategic plans, to which she attempted to disclose that information to the BLM rioters. So, again, the guy that's calling J.D. Vance weird, has a wife who revels in the destruction of her home state, or I don't even know if it's her home state, but of the state she's the first lady of. And then the dude's daughter got instructions about the National Guard, and she actually posted online where these folks were going to be and how to, get out of the way of them so you wouldn't get in trouble. So, who's the weird people now, Mr. Walz? And I think she scrubbed her Twitter, but there are, screenshots live forever. So you can certainly still find those. As in a May 2020 post on X, according to the New York Post, Hope Row, here we go. So it's just going to actually not have the embedded tweet, but have like a quote of it. It said, could someone who actually has followers rely to the masses that have gotten National Guard training that the Guard will not be present tonight? The Guard cannot be sent within minutes, Hope said, adding that it takes time for them to deploy because they come from all over the state. And Governor Walz came under nationwide scrutiny this week over his leadership in 2020 after Harris announced him as her 2024 running mate. And that's the end of the article. So just a kind of a brief one, but still, I kind of go back to the whole point. I said it a couple of times, is like, Walz is the guy who started the whole weird trend, and who are really the weird people here? The family man, J.D. Vance, or the dude here who just let his city burn, his wife reveled in it, and his daughter decided to give away, what was going on with the National Guard, and that they wouldn't be there so that people could get away with more stuff. Who are the weird ones again, I ask you? So that's all I have to say. You let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.